you say, I am so sorry that this happened to you, that's really all you can say. I mean, people who say stuff like, oh, he's in a better place, or at least he's not, anything that starts with at least is not good.
For that mother who had the loss, she may very well perceive that as a baby. That was an infant death to her, where the people in her life may be considering that just a miscarriage. I hate that phrase.
Pregnancies don't all end in a way that is positive, and that doesn't mean that it's the fault of the person, that they've done something wrong, that something has happened that they should feel blame for.
I am a psychotherapist, and my specialization is in grief and bereavement, and in particular perinatal death and also traumatic grief. I deal with the death of children very frequently. Well, I was a therapist. For years I worked with people on the autism spectrum, and then my son died of a brain tumor, and which took me into trying to figure out ways to help myself. And through that process, I ended up taking many, many trainings, hundreds of hours, trying to figure out what to do for myself. And in that process, I began facilitating support groups for the Miss Foundation, which is an international volunteer-based organization that supports families after the death of a child. From perinatal loss up to teenagers to adult losses. And on this day is our annual kindness walk. We all get together and we walk in memory of our children, and we also have remembrance activities. And because it's called the Kindness Walk, and we believe in doing kindnesses for others in the memory of our children to help them stay alive in the world and in everyone's memories, we always have another organization, a local nonprofit, that we donate items and supplies, and they're the recipient of our kindness project for the walk.
When I was working in neonatal intensive care, I realized that I gravitated towards the families in crisis. I gravitated towards meeting the needs of the people who were struggling with the worst situations. And very often those were situations where babies were dying.
I know that you're all here because of the grief that's shaken you. And I know that your family has never been the same since the event that brought you here today. I'm a professor in the School of Social Work at VCU, Virginia Commonwealth University. And I have been teaching there for about 10 years, but I do research in the area of women's mental health during and around the time of pregnancy, which means I look both at issues of grief and loss that impact women and families, as well as looking at depression and other events that happen during and around the time of pregnancy in women's lives.
The death of a child and the death of a baby automatically is what we consider traumatic grief. And grief is the experience that we have after the loss of anything that's precious to us.
I started to see that there wasn't one big ugly emotion, there was a combination of two. And what I realized is that there was sadness and there was fear. And very often those look alike and they feel alike, so much so that most people can't untangle them. But when I look at them separately, I realize that they're different, and how we need to react to those two things are different. Because sadness is a logical result of being in a sad situation. The baby has died, and that's very sad. Sadness is kind of like a companion in the room who's not going to leave. And I tell them that their sadness is there, and I honor it. If I were to walk in the room and try to make them not sad, that would be disrespectful. Of course they're sad. But fear is very often caused by the unknown. They don't know what's going to happen next. They don't know what's expected of them. They don't know what people are going to say. They don't know all these sort of different things. Some of those things are issues that we can diffuse. Some of those are pieces of information that they can get. And so I find that, again, if we can deal with the fear and dissipate some of that, that they have more emotional energy left over to deal with the sadness.
Mom, I need to talk to you alone. What is it, honey? Talk to me. Mom, it's my fault. No, honey, it's not your fault. No, it is. These things happen. No. It is. Chris and I, we had sex, and that's when the water broke. And he didn't even want to, Mom. I made him do it, Mom. I made him do it. Did you tell the doctor that? No, I was too ashamed. Honey, I'm gonna have the doctor talk to you, okay? Okay? It can't do it, honey. Having sex can't do that. Michaela, look at me. You can't blame yourself for this. It just happened. Look, Chris. Look what I found. I wrote this 3 years ago when we were first together. Look at the name. Look, Caleb Ryan. I wrote his name down way back then. Do you remember?
You know, honey, I can't talk about it right now.
Why?
I can't. I'm watching this show.
Well, when? When, Chris? When? When will you be able to talk about it? There's always some stupid reason why you can't talk about it.
I just don't want to talk about it, okay? I don't want to have to come home after work and see all these things and pictures and have our friends see them and hear you go on and on and on about Caleb. It's just too hard to paint.